Greetings and welcome back to my channel, guys. How are you doing today? Now, this video we're going to talk about the greatest knightly order on Krynn. They are called the Knights of Balif, so let's begin. In the years following the Rose Rebellion, the Kender of Halo became enamored with the idea of the Solamnic knighthood. Warriors dressed in bright and shiny armor that could wield glittering swords in battle with the efficiency of a hopak and could perform all sort of neat tricks from the back of moving horses were all the rage. The medals, the feasts, the festivals, the jousting, the waving of flags, it was like those knights lived in one big day of Kendermont, day in and day out of their whole lives. The fact that these knights long ago rebelled against Ergoth, a nation that had really not been very friendly to Halo in the past, only made the reputation of this growing knighthood even more appealing. So for decades, generations of Kender made the trip to Solamnia to join the knighthood. Each one was turned down for one reason or another. Either they were too short, or they were not born in Solamnia, or they weren't allowed to play with the valuable ancient weapons, or any other number of silly reasons. Most Kender eventually returned home at one time or another with the sad story of the rejection from the knighthood. In 1634 PC, after his fifth attempt and eventual failure to join the Knights of Solamnia, Humas Springfinger decided to form his own knighthood. He named his knights the Order of the Knights of Balif, in honor of the first and greatest Kender hero. As news of the Knights of Balif spread, Kender from all over Kenderhome flocked to Halo to join. Every Kender who could serve was allowed to join. They created three orders. The Order of the Akon was the highest and most noble of the three. This order was reserved for Huma and his closest friends, and of course their closest friends. The Order of the Sparrow was dedicated to all those Kenders who were currently on Wanderlust or planning to be soon. The Sparrows would fly to the furthest corners of Krynn, doing good work in the name of the Knights of Balif. And the third order, the Order of the Pouch, was open to those Kenders who were beyond Wanderlust and chose to remain in one place for longer than a few weeks. It was their responsibility to provide shelter to the wandering sparrows and to assist in collecting supplies and information for the Order of the Akon. The knight's oath was Ik think alus mot donat, which meant goodness is best. They intended to live up to the standards of the Knights of Solamnia that they admired so, even if the Solamnics did have a slight problem with their entrance requirements. Word of the new warrior regime in Halo reached the ear of Gregory Utilon, the Solamnic Grand Master of the time. The Grand Master was unfamiliar with the ways of the Kender and was outraged by stories of Kenders running around with pots on their heads, waving sharp pointy sticks and claiming to be knights. He believed their action belittled the Grand Solamnic Order, so he sent an emissary to request that the Kender stop their mockery. They did not stop, however. In fact, they issued an invitation for any knight who was interested in joining their order will join immediately into the Order of the Acorn. A great honor indeed. On this note, however, Grandmaster Gregory ordered an invasion of Kenderhome, despite the protest of his advisors. I would love to be in the room with Sir Gregory when he actually ordered the invasion of Kenderhome, to see the shock on the face of his advisors trying to persuade him not to do this stupid mistake. Yet he goes along with it. As the knights rode into Halo to lay siege to the citadel in the heart of the city, the Kender cheered and waved. The Kender never actually realized they were under attack. Instead, they prepared a great festival in the honors of the knights' arrival. For nearly a month, the Kender strolled around the knights' encampment, praising them for their arrival and telling them how much they admire them. Eventually, the commander of the invading force was able to explain how the formation of the Knights of Balif had hurt the Grand Master's feelings, because the Grand Master thought they were teasing the Knights of Solamnia. The realization of this information shocked the Kender, and they decided to dissolve the Knights of Balif in order to prevent any further misunderstandings. It wasn't until the Chaos War that the idea of Kender Knights was brought up again. During that time, the Dragon Overlord Malistrix ordered the armies of orcs to surround the capital city of Kendermore. The story of the Knights of Balif resurfaced. It is said that stories of the valiant Knights of Balif gave the Kenders courage when their own natural fearlessness began to fail them. Kender storytellers claim that the Kender Knightly Order was reborn in that terrible tragedy, and that some of the Kender who helped the populace escape that day wore symbols of the three orders. Legends suggest that the Knights of Balif will return someday in some form or fashion. Now guys, what do you think about the Kender Knights and the Knightly Order of Balif? I think it's a hilarious story. I was super entertained reading it and I wanted to share it with you, so I hope you enjoyed it and we'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day and Happy New Year!